Hello and welcome everyone to episode 125 of One Piece at a Time, the One Piece read-through podcast where we read and discuss 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each and every week. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and freelance letterer at Shonen Jump, Brandon Bovia. How you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm, of course, Brandon Bovia, letterer of manga like Kaiju number 8, Dragon Ball Super. I think I said that in the reverse order. Anyway, I'm here to talk about One Piece. I work on manga. It's a whole thing.
Kaiju number 8 is way more important than Dragon Ball anymore.
Yeah, it's the new hotness. Hey, we're getting a Kaiju number 8 game. I forget if that's this year or next year.
Oh, are we? I forgot.
Hey,
I missed that got announced.
Yeah, I mean it's by a mobile developer, so my expectations aren't super high, but the footage they showed looked pretty cool. Okay,
I mean there's some pretty neat mobile games to come out in Japan, but God, it's mobile. I don't care.
yeah, it's just I'm not going to gamble for my favorite Kaiju number 8 characters. I refuse.
No. The only one I know is that I really know of just from images and whatnot is the main character, and then pigtailed girl with giant axe.
Yes, yeah.
Which she seems to be a favorite, and I think I can see why.
Well, if there's one thing Kaiju number 8 loves doing, it's giving women big weapons. Like the other female protagonist of Mina, she's just got like a big bazooka and a tiger.
And a tiger, sure, why not?
Yeah. Well, it was fun. I just real quick off the cuff, but like in the newest episode of the anime, at the time of recording was episode 10, and so she showed up, used her bazooka, but like she was using the tiger as like an off balance, like for the recoil.
Oh my god!
And just seeing that in animation was incredible.
See, that just takes me back to the infamous sniper shot from High School of the Dead.
Yeah.
Which physics do not work like that.
No, they don't. But you know what? When animals are involved and not harmed, I think it can be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, we should probably start talking about One Piece because all action, but really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the stakes, the tension is just rising. This whole set, it feels like it's just all building up.
It really does feel like everybody is pushing themselves to their limit. And as we've said before, it is not looking good for the pirates.
Yeah, and that's sort of the cool thing I really like about this set is that it is desperate, but like it's not one-sided.
No. There's certainly wins on each side, but there are a few key members here and there that really disrupt things, and distractions abound. Because an interesting thing here, as far as I can tell, maybe we'll get into it more when we get to these actual chapters, is that the pirates seem more concerned about their allies than the Marines do.
Oh, for sure. That is a good observation. We'll come to that.
I mean, Whitebeard does treat his crew like family, so it makes sense. But let's actually get to these chapters, talk about them, because despite being a lot of fights, I think there's still a lot to say. So yeah, let's get into it with chapter 566, Raid, and our first 2-page spread in a while. Our first color art.
Well, last one was ice cream. This one's cola.
Yeah, I am. Honestly, it looks really refreshing. I think Oda, if he just stuck some labels of Coke on there or Pepsi, I think he has a pretty good cross promotion going on, because
there'd be some good product placement.
Even the fish wants to drink cola.
Yeah. The elephant in the background seems to be struggling a bit.
Yeah, it got shook up a little bit. Although I look at Nami and she's just straight out of a cola commercial.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get into the chapter itself with Luffy unleashing his attack on the 3 admirals, having arrived on the other side of the giant gate. Pretty much the only pirate there, and those scraps are not really doing a whole lot to these 3, because of course they wouldn't.
Well, yeah, they're all just standing there because, of course, like it just goes right through them. I kind of love that because we ended last week with like it's kind of on a cliffhanger, like, oh, Luffy's about to attack the admirals. Like, what is he gonna do? How's this gonna go? He tries to activate Gear 2 to get right past him, and then Kizaru's just like no, and sends him flying way across.
I like this sort of attention to detail that so far Kizaru is the one that has attacked Luffy the most. Like he has a bone to pick with Luffy after his escape, and probably all the flack he's gotten from the celestial dragons.
Yeah, I think it seems more like a I gotta just deal with this kid. Like it's just more like a job.
Very much so. It's just like, all right, time to finish this thing off. And man, time is getting close because Sengoku's like, yeah, do it. Execute Ace. And just as they're about to fall, somebody stops them, takes out the two guys that were about to behead Ace. And turns out it's friggin' Crocodile who saved Ace.
Yeah, and then, Sengoku's like, we thought you wanted to kill Whitebeard. We didn't think you would do it.
And that's when Crocodile just says, I'll get rid of the dying old man later. I don't want to see any of you celebrating before that.
He hates the government more than he hates Whitebeard. That's beautiful to see.
I think seeing Whitebeard get stabbed and him calling out for him has sort of realigned his priorities.
Right, yeah. It's sort of like, it's kind of cool seeing like it's like Crocodile's pride almost.
To a degree, yeah. There's something that got him into a raw feeling. Just something about this that really got him much more invested, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I don't think I talked about this last week, but I really kind of like seeing Crocodile invested like this, where he's yelled out at Whitebeard a bit, but like he said that because he cares.
Yeah, it's weird to see Crocodile care about something, and it's kind of amazing how I wouldn't call it likable, but investing, I guess it is the best way to put it. Because it's hard to think back to what Crocodile did during Alabasta. Be like, yeah, he's kind of likable now. I was like, no.
No. He's still completely out for himself. And it's just, this whole circumstance is just like an alliance of conveniences. And even, I love that right after Crocodile does his move, like his head goes flying and you're just like, what? But it turns out it was Doflamingo, who's just like, he's getting a little jealous. He's just like, he rejected me and now you're going to join Whitebeard.
And then the two of them clash and it's just like, oh man. That's an interesting set.
Fun thing to point out that I noticed, because like the way that they clash, like Doflamingo stops Crocodile's hook with his foot, which is actually like a part of his fighting style we'll see way later.
Oh, really? I mean...
Yeah. I was surprised to see that here.
I mean, we've barely seen him use his hands other than for his power, so it wouldn't surprise me if he keeps his hands free to use that power and instead focus on his feet.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. Like
it's not something I've actively thought about before, as I'll say.
Right. Yeah. It's a really little thing, but the exact like framing of their clash is very familiar. Like that'll come back up.
Ah, okay.
Oh, and actually, speaking of things that will come back up, I missed this the first time.
Oh, really?
Yes. But here on the next page, where like Aokishi's coming out after Luffy, where he says, "I owe your grandfather a great debt." But you leave me no choice. Like that is also, again, alluding to things that will come up later. Yeah,
there's definitely something to Aokiji's past, like especially with what we saw of him and Robin.
You can tell he's got a lot going on. And I love the idea just from like kind of those two things alone, where it's like Oda and so many things about this arc, where it's like Oda clearly knows the direction he's going in with some of these characters. Like he's figured it out now in ways that won't be readily apparent for a very long time, but you can sort of see the confidence. Like you wouldn't have Aokiji say that unless Oda already kind of knew that he was gonna go somewhere with that.
Right. Otherwise, he is using his ice powers to stab Luffy through the shoulder. So
yeah, that's
not great. And Hancock is immediately furious, but she's not the one that gets to save. Instead, it's Marco. And just coming in with his Phoenix powers and kicks him away. It's like, ooh, Marco's cool. You don't think about it too often, but Marco is cool.
All right, fire versus ice.
Yeah, there's more of them coming through the blockade, more jumping over the wall. It's like, okay, everybody's like, we got to swim towards oars. We have to get to the plaza. And they're like, well, they don't have anywhere to go. There's no footing. They're in a panic. So let's just fire at will and take them all out. And then all of a sudden something starts bubbling under the water and another ship, a mini Moby Dick, comes up.
I love this.
Out of the ocean. And this is Whitebeard's backup plan, his ace in the hole, where everybody gets onto this ship and is all set to go. Whitebeard just goes, I didn't say I brought out all my ships.
That's so good.
They try to sink it right away. And it's like, nope. Oris grabs hold of the ship and just drags it through the wall.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This is what I was talking about earlier about like it doesn't feel one-sided, right? Like Whitebeard still got some plans left in him.
But it's all desperate. That's the thing is it's impressive, yes. But it's not like tide changing. It's just and I've noticed that for this bit. The distance between the pirates and Ace is not that far in the grand scheme of things, and is very much they're much closer than they ever were at Impel Down. But the resistance to get there, every inch has to be fought for, tooth and nail, every trick pulled out of the book.
Yeah, pretty much. And now that the pirates are here, like it's basically just like a full on clash right where Ace can see him, right? Like it's all like happening right in front of him.
Yeah, you see that aerial shot, and there's very little distance. I'd say maybe 500 feet.
Yeah, for sure. It's really, really not that far. And man, poor Oars, who we already thought was dead.
I know, we did think he was dead or just out of it. Losing a foot, still able to drag this thing ashore just because he wants to help Ace.
And then just gets completely bombarded once he drags the mini Moby Dick onto the shore.
And yeah, he still wants to save Ace. And as he's passing out, Whitebeard is like, nah, I'm stand back, sons. I got this. And he just unleashes his like swipe with his halberd, unleashing his quake powers.
One of my favorite spreads.
Yeah, everybody's getting flown back. The admirals are handling it just fine, but I like that the Momonga is struggling to stay there. Like he's there, he stays standing, but barely.
Yeah, he's having a little bit of a rough time. And here's one thing, Sengoku is such a fraud. I really thought the way he rolls up his sleeves and he's like, we won't be getting off easy this time. I was like, oh, we're about to see him in action.
Yeah, that shocked me as well. It's like, oh dang, Sengoku about to throw hands, and I was like, I don't remember that at all. But yeah, I don't remember everything from this, so it's entirely possible.
I mean, it'll probably happen later, but just not in this set. And I was ready for it, and it was just like, oh, okay. Interesting. It feels more like, all right, we're not going to get off of this time. Go get him. I'll stand back here.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those enticing cliffhangers, but
yep.
We'll see how that goes as we go over to chapter 567, Marineford Navy Headquarters, Oris Plaza. And we get another color spread, like two right in a row. It's kind of amazing.
Back to back.
And we got the Battle Fruits 9, where Luffy's an apple, Brook is grapes, Chopper's a peach, Zoro's a melon, Nami's of course a tangerine.
Yep.
I think Usopp's a pineapple, Sanji's a banana, Robin is cherries. It took me a bit to figure that out. Cherries. And
this would be a lot easier to figure out in color.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
And then Frankie's a strawberry. But I like how you get to see on the TV Nami's full outfit and then Sanji back behind her just doing his usual cheering.
Yeah. I think this isn't the first time, because this is like the Chopper whatever, like,
oh, is it related to Chopper Man
thing? I think so. I think that's what this is.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. I just thought Luffy was ahead of the game on his Apple products, considering his Apple TV and his Apple Music player.
Honest God, it's weird seeing Luffy in jeans.
Yeah.
Now that I've noticed it, I don't like it.
It is very odd. In stirrups, like those don't seem like his legs.
Yeah, exactly. They look like the legs of a completely different character.
How odd. But into the chapter itself, yeah, we got the goal. Destroy Navy headquarters as Whitebeard's just like, okay, don't get too close to me. And he just goes to unleash another one when here comes Aokiji and freezes him solid.
Yeah, and as you could imagine, vibrations don't freeze very well, and Whitebeard just breaks out of it and stabs Aokiji.
Yeah, stabs him with pure haki, but Aokiji was able to deflect it, get it under his arm rather than, he didn't take the hit this time around. He knew we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little maneuver from him. And then he goes for his ice block partisan when all of a sudden he just gets smacked in the face by Jozu.
And not only that, I love that panel after where like Jozu's just like, Pops, go on ahead. And Whitebeard just like walks right past him like a boss.
Just that stare down between Aokiji and Jozu is great.
Yeah. So now we've got, God, yeah, it really feels like the division leaders are all fighting the admirals now.
Yeah. You know what I just realized?
Mm-hmm.
Is Jozu a JoJo reference?
Is he?
He's Jozu, and he's Diamond, as in Diamond is unbreakable.
You know, I wonder. I had never thought about that.
It just came to me. I don't know why.
Huh. Yeah,
I don't know if it is fully, but it is quite coincidental.
Yeah.
I don't know. But in the meantime, we got Luffy desperately trying to get to Ace, huffing and wheezing as he gets through all these clashing pirates, and Momonga just trying to get at him, and Luffy, doing his spinning kick stuff, but it's just not enough, and he even takes a slash from Momonga, and he tries to go gear 2, and this other guy that looks a different kind of Catman than similar-ish to Lucci, I think, especially how he does his finger pistol.
Yeah, and I think Momonga was using shave there earlier. Like it's I feel like these are, I mean, like the Vice Admirals are strong, no doubt. I feel like if Luffy were in better condition, he wouldn't be struggling as much. Like Luffy is going through it. He is not having an easy time, and it's just, well, yeah, he getting kind of manhandled by the Vice Admirals, and then, of course, you see him get stabbed with a light beam.
Yeah. Just taken out, and here's Kizaru just going, yeah, guts alone aren't enough. It takes more than effort alone to save someone. You've got to have power. And Luffy is down for the count. He just gets kicked away, and Whitebeard's actually the one to catch him. Just holds him up, and Luffy is pretty much passed out, but just still calling out for Ace.
It's just all that guts, but his body is unable to keep up.
Just pushed to the absolute limit.
It's sort of funny here that like Kizaru is kind of actually like ribbing Whitebeard a bit, where he's just like, how could you let a piece of trash like that lead your charge?
And that's when Jinbei and Ivankov shows up. Ivankov growing the face and body so much that he's able to look over the wall. And this was before Attack on Titan, so I only imagine this is a inspiration.
It's funny. Like I almost wonder what this panel looks like from the other side. I kind of don't want to know now that I said that.
Yeah, I know. It's very, very odd. And of course, Jinbei and Ivankov are just like, "Are you still alive? Are you okay?" And Luffy is able to wake up enough. He's like, "Hey, let me go, old man. And Whitebeard just tosses away before he can even finish talking. It's like, he's done more than a share. Get him patched up.
Yeah.
And Luffy's just like, "No, I don't have time for this."
But of course, like he grabs the guy. He's like, like Ace is the only brother I have in the world. But like he slips, he falls, and he's done for the count.
Yeah. And I love this line from Whitebeard. It's like, "You're nothing but a massive spirit. All you can do is talk big. I love idiots like you."
Yeah. You can tell that he sees a lot of Ace in Luffy.
Yeah. You can, and probably Ace, a lot of Roger, a lot of probably even himself.
Yeah.
Just massive amount of guts.
I mean, we've been seeing this a lot throughout this whole arc, but sort of like the quiet acknowledgement that Whitebeard has for Luffy, the way that like just through his actions he's won him over, is sort of incredible.
I quite love it. But yeah, as he's getting ready to unleash another wave from his halberd, here comes Akainu and blocks it with his foot, causing a massive explosion. And Jinbei's like, "All right, it's going to be my final battle. I am going to protect Whitebeard." Akainu is just like, "Yeah, this island's not going to last if we turn you loose." And Whitebeard's just like, "Yeah, you can try to protect the island." And
yeah, coming from a guy with a magma fist saying that the island won't last long. Yeah, right, buddy.
It's unreal. And then we just get a series of panels of pirates fighting, warlords fighting, various characters taking hits, Kizaru just calmly firing his light beams.
Pew, pew, pew.
And you can just see everything around Ace. That whole front area, just nothing but a mass of explosions and detritus. And it's like,
and then
it seems like chaos, but it's controlled chaos. Because you can even see the freaking pacifistas there on the left firing
off.
off.
Oh yeah, you're right. I missed that completely.
Like if you really take the time to get into detail, it's incredible what Oda's pulling off here, because it seems chaotic and it's supposed to be chaotic. Like it's hard to make out those details.
It's war.
But there's just enough that you can make out exactly what's like sort of the players involved.
I would like to take this time to remind everybody that One Piece is a 19-page weekly serial. Think about that when you're reading this, and just like the utter detail in all this art. It's ridiculous.
More often 17 pages lately, but that's fair. But then here comes Marco, almost reaching ace, until he gets punched away by freaking Garp.
Hey, did you want to know how strong Garp is?
Oh my god. Just decks Marco and sends him flying back.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of love this too, because it is like, yeah, Marco can fly. Like just fly up there and get ace, especially if all the other admirals are if they're kind of busy. Like, yeah, just fly up there. You take advantage of the moment. But yeah, no, Garp just just dunks him basically.
Yeah, you have to get past me. You have to do it over my dead body.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Sengoku's like, who gave you the order to move out? But then I love that, like, after punching Marco, like, Garp just like goes down and like sits down on his chair, folds his arms. He's just like, ugh.
Nope. Like it really shows that Garp is kind of the last line of defense.
Yeah, for sure.
What is Garp made of? We do have an SBS where we get the age and height of all the warlords, both past and present. And turns out we were curious about how old Blackbeard was. He's 38.
Yeah.
So that is interesting. The oldest is Moria at 48, but most of them are in their late 30s, early 40s.
I love this, God, for a shonen manga, having so many active characters who are like, pushing 40, pushing 50 is honestly just great. And I mean, when you think about this whole war, it's like, there's a whole bunch of characters in here like who are in their 70s, basically.
Yeah, seriously. And then you have their heights, and the shortest is Hancock at 1 meter 91 centimeter, which when I saw this, I did the conversion, but I forgot to have it up so I could see it. But I think that's essentially like 6'10", 6'9",
something like that.
And she's the shortest. Moria's the tallest at 6 meters 92 centimeters, which I think that's like 10 feet.
And that's like 40% neck and like, I don't know, 60% belly.
Yeah,
it's just disgusting.
It really is. Like these people are huge.
Yeah, and it feels like such an, when you think about it, like that most, if not, like a good chunk of these characters are like enemies. And I feel like One Piece always has really like huge, just massive antagonists.
It's a good way to make them feel intimidating.
It is. Yeah. It's no mistake. They're all just huge. Like they're all normal people, but they just happen to be really tall.
Of course, then we got somebody asking. I got to know what Hancock's measurements are and her cup size. So we got 111, 61, 91. I don't know what that translates to, but apparently it's a J cup because of that's what they requested.
That's what they wanted. Yep. As a quick reminder, I feel like we talked about this the last time somebody asked for cup sizes. Japanese cup sizes are not American cup sizes, so I think they go higher. Like the letters go higher.
Yes, they don't hang around in the D's for a long time.
Yeah, so it sounds ridiculous because it is, but also it you know what? Let's just move on.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what the equivalent is.
I feel like because Oda went out of his way to say like, I'll make it this because this reader wanted it. Like he doesn't care.
No, he really doesn't care. Okay, I mean, granted, she has some height on her side here. The biggest band size that I can find here is 38 centimeters. So a bust size of, hold on. I don't understand brawls. Basically what I can tell is I think she'd be the equivalent of an American G.
Okay. Which
G
I mean,
cup.
yeah.
which is the next step beyond Triple D.
Yeah.
Which, what the hell?
Yeah, but also she's like 6'10", so
yeah, true. I can't wrap my head around it. I'm not gonna even bother.
One Piece.
Yep. Well, let's get to the next chapter. 568. Have it your way. Zoro hanging out with the lion.
Yeah, and the lion's got beer. That's what the kanji is. So.
Oh, okay. That's why Zoro's chasing him.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yep.
He wants the beer.
A little bit of storytelling goes a long way.
We get back into it, and everybody's panicking. It's like, oh god, the hero Garp is joining the battle. It's like, nah, he's just a feeble old soldier now.
Funny coming from Whitebeard, who's bleeding out of the mouth currently.
Yeah, that's exactly what Aki Inu says, and he even sends out like a hellhound straight at
I do. There are like Aka Inu's, which I mean, funny, is his title translating to Red Dog. So of course, some of his attacks are dog themed, which I don't know. It's a cool visual.
It is a very cool visual.
Well, that, and then it looks like Whitebeard just like grabs it and yeets it, if I'm understanding that panel correctly.
Yeah, and it just like destroys a good portion of the town. You can see how the buildings are all messed up, and Aki Inu even says, do you have to demolish the town every single time? It's like, how many times does Whitebeard attack Navy headquarters? Yeah.
No, I think the implication here is just that his attacks are continuing to demolish.
Oh, okay. I thought it was saying that he attacked previously.
That's also possible. I wouldn't rule that out.
Yeah. Again, it's just all out fights as we see all these pirates take on the pacifistas. And
I like this one guy with a javelin just like stabbing it in the neck.
Yeah, it seems to be doing some pretty decent damage to it. But Ace just has his head down as far as he can, and sort of having some flashbacks to his childhood.
Yeah, this one kind of this breaks my heart, man.
Oh, it really does. It's like just talking to these kids, these older kids, just being like, it's all the problems of the world are caused by these pirates, and the pirates all came from Gold Roger. He's a piece of human trash, worth nothing alive and even less dead. And that upsets Ace, who, as we can see, is much smaller than these boys. He looks about 5, 6, and the oldest of these boys might be like 13, 15. Mm-hmm. We found out that he actually almost killed a bunch of them.
Yes, and it's interesting too, because like as we sort of could extrapolate from like Ace's childhood, like you would have thought that he always hated his father, but it seems like at this point in his life, if he knows that Gold Roger is his dad and is like maybe kind of like trying to defend his name, but no, he's just like hearing from all of these people, just like, like they don't ever utter that vile name, in my presence, you brat, and just stuff like that. Yeah.
You get the sense that I think there was that respect there, that reaching out to get I don't know, as you see him say, would it have been better if I was never born? And I guess he's just trying to validate his own life.
Yeah. And trying to understand I guess why people kind of hate him for, who he is or who Gold Roger is. And I feel like this going back to what Whitebeard said to Squard, where it's like, you can't judge the son for the sins of his father.
Right. You can kind of see where Ace would have shifted. Where he's just like, I'm going to be better than my father, or I don't need my father in order to do this. Also, I forget the name. But in that top panel was like when it's asking, what did you do in town, Ace? The character is blocked out, and that's not Garp. Which must mean it's that other character that he mentioned before that was taking care of them.
That might be Dadan. Yeah, I'm going to say I'm like 70% sure, maybe.
That'd be my best guess, but
it could be. I don't know enough about, like, I can't remember exactly what that character looks like off the top of my head. So, but like, yeah, it's kind of close enough.
Right.
I think it might be.
Here's the thing that kills me, though, because when Ace asked if it would have been better if he was never born, Garp doesn't say, like, no, of course it's better that you were born. He just says, only time can answer that question. Look,
we all know Garp is a bad grandfather.
Yeah, that's harsh.
Yeah, he's just, come on, man.
Jeez.
You couldn't do at least a little bit better. You don't pat him on the back. You're just like, it'll be all right. Just, no.
No.
Like, the best you got is maybe.
But going back to Luffy, he is begging Iva for one last favor. I thought it was Luffy at first, but it's very pointed that Luffy and Ace are kind of in the same position right now and very much looking like brothers with how they're keeled over.
They're both at their lowest points.
Yeah. And Ace is just like, I'm no good. And everybody's shouting out, it's like, we're coming to save you. We'll be right there. Don't give up. And even
that's the problem.
Yeah. I'm torn up inside. Even now, they're all bleeding and dying for me. It touches me so deeply. The tears won't stop flowing. Even after everything I've seen and done, I still don't want to die.
Yeah, that hits. And you can tell it hits Garp, too. He's just, And this coming from the same person as a child, wondering if it was, if he was better off not existing. And now, in this own way, he's receiving so much love, right? Like, by watching his dearest companions all basically fall one by one trying to save his life.
Yeah.
And so I can imagine from somebody who had like an upbringing like this to like kind of have this level of overwhelming love and acceptance, but also like to have so much like conflict in your heart, to be like everybody I love is dying for me. It's just he can't like that would tear up anybody inside, and he just breaks down and he can't handle it.
Yeah, there's probably thousands of pirates down there, and they're all fighting for him. But we take a little break to see how Buggy's doing, because he's alive. He was frozen, but he got the water that got heated by the lava thawed him out. So
that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, it really is. And then I love it. It's like nobody freezes me and gets away with it. And somebody's like, "Oh my God, he's incredible! He just got thawed and he's still ready to fight."
Yeah, he looks like he's kind of like sniffling.
But now this is where things start getting bad, because Whitebeard's chest starts to hurt, and he keels over and coughs up more blood from it all. His body is giving out, and Aki Inu is ready to take advantage. And Marco's like, "Oh God, it's happening! Not now."
Yeah, and we all knew this was coming. Again, like from moment one that we first saw Whitebeard on screen, we knew that he was not in perfect health, and it feels like such smart kind of storytelling to hold that back.
And we see where this bond of family starts getting them, because Marco diverts his attention to Whitebeard, which leaves it open for Kizaru to pierce him from behind.
Yep, and same for Jozu, who he looks away and he gets frozen by Aokiji.
And then here comes freaking Aki Inu with a magma hand straight into, or just. Yeah, I don't know how much damage it does. We don't really see, but it's just straight into the chest of Whitebeard.
Yeah, doesn't look like it goes through it doesn't go through to the other side. So
no, it does not pierce.
Doesn't have a hole, but that still has to be very, very painful.
Yes, and we go to Eva, who's just like, "You want another shot of energy hormone, Luffy? It would kill you. You've been fighting since you broke out of Impel Down. You haven't even recovered from the poison yet. Your body can't take any more. If you keep going, you're going to die." And Luffy's just like, "I don't care as long as I do everything I can. If I don't keep fighting and they kill Ace, I couldn't live with that. So give me the power right now."
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen this sentiment from Luffy before too, right? Where like he would rather die than to live with regret, right?
Yes. Eva's like, "I can't do anything this way. You're a fool." And it's just like, "Damn it, okay." And he does it. He pumps him up. Luffy unleashes a scream, and he's ready to go back in there.
This really feels like this is it, right? Like everybody's down, like all the, Whitebeard and his division leaders are all they're all getting kind of cooked.
Yeah, there is very little time left, and like there's only so much room you can get to, and I guess victory at this point is getting Ace out of those chains so he can fight and they can start fleeing. But this does seem like if that's going to happen, it needs to happen in the next few chapters, and then again, it's like Impel Down, time to get out, and whether they can get out, that's the question.
Well, yeah, no, it's it's really coming down to the wire here.
We do have another SBS, and we get to learn a little bit more about Suru and her devil fruit. So her devil fruit is the wash fruit. She's a washer human. She's able to wash and dry any evildoer, cleaning up their hearts just a little bit. So being able to wash away evil hearts, pirates find her to be quite a formidable foe.
Huh. I don't think that's how that... Sure, whatever.
Sure, why not? I'll go with it. I don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
And the other question was just about how Oda picks art posts, which we haven't seen a lot of those lately, other than the SBS ones, but no need to really focus on that right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's just get to it. Chapter 569, White Monster. Luffy has that energy injection. He's ready to go again. And he's dashing forward, and
yeah, as Eva points out, like it's a trick basically. Like you're not actually healed.
It will not do you any good, and they just keep working together. And we see what should be a pretty big reunion, because Kobe's like, I gotta fight or I'll never change. This is my battlefield. I have to fight if I want to kill him. So it's gonna be Kobe versus Luffy. And Kobe tries to use shave. Luffy immediately catches him with Gum Gum Bullet, knocks him out in one punch, and goes.
Man, poor Kobe, but
poor tried. Kobe, but also that's probably the best outcome he could have hoped for to survive this.
Right? Yeah. Just I mean, and because that's all it is. Like he obviously. I'm sure Luffy doesn't want to fight him, so it's just knock him out, keep moving. You know?
Yeah, pretty much. And that's when he comes across all the freaking pacifistas. And again, we've reached another point where it's Luffy being saved by a bunch of people so he can keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love this bit too, because it's like the pacifistas show up to block his path. Then here comes Hancock, and then the pacifistas are like basically like beep boop, like Boa Hancock, warlord, and so they don't attack because they're like ally detected.
She's just like, it's like, thanks Hancock. He called me by my name again.
yeah.
And then I love the pacifista says, "Move aside, Boa Hancock. Don't you call me that?" just smacks him.
That's great.
Marco is still trying to get the Whitebeard, and Kizaru points out that, as he is a Phoenix fruit user, he can regenerate. However, that's not so good when our Spider Vice Admiral is able to slap on a set of Sea Prism Stone handcuffs, and then he immediately gets pierced again by Kizaru.
Kizaru is so OP, I feel like, in this war setting where he can just kind of sit there and just like shoot lasers at people.
He's a sniper at this point. He's just taking out everybody. I don't know who's more powerful between Kizaru and Aki Inu. Aki Inu is really more destructive, but Kizaru is more precise.
Yeah, it's they're both a pain to deal with, and now Jozu seems completely frozen, and so, Aokiji says that the Whitebeard pirates are doomed.
It's not looking so good. Ace captured, Marco damaged pretty critically with a Sea Prism Stone, Jozu frozen. It's not going well. And let's make that even worse by having a bunch of Marines come in and attack Whitebeard all at once, stabbing him in the chest, the legs, the ribs, blasting a bazooka into his face. Good God.
Yeah. Well, that panel was shocking alone, and then I love his Whitebeard's just like, you think that they can kill me with this? I don't need your help. And then like bro locks in and he just says, I am a Whitebeard, and you just get this awesome 2-page spread of him just like knocking everybody off of him.
Yeah. It's
incredible.
It's just the sheer power of this man, and just him saying, I know exactly what it would mean if I were to die. That's all the more reason to stay alive until I've guided my sons toward a brighter future. Right, Ace?
Yeah.
And, God, you feel for Ace. And I love how this is like all the other pirates just line up, not in front of him to protect him, but to stand behind him and defending his pride so he doesn't get stabbed in the back.
Which is a really cool callback to Azora versus Mihawk on Baratier, where he was like wounds on the swordsman's back, or it's like a mark of shame, or something along those lines. So it seems to be kind of like a line of thinking that's really kind of widespread in this world.
Very much so. Sengoku's like, I just noticed Sengoku has his sleeves rolled down. I was like, I wasn't going to throw hands, but I can't be bothered.
Yeah. Coward.
It's like, hey, if it's the future you want to see, I'll give you a glimpse. And they go to cut off Ace's head once again. And all of a sudden he has this chest pain again. We can see that can see a bit of the scarring on his chest from Aki Inu's magma attack.
Yeah, he can't get there in time.
No. And that's when Luffy just shouts out, "Stop," from how far back. And it's enough to knock out the soldiers ready to behead him. Even takes out Django. Django
it does? Out. Yeah. I didn't, yeah.
And that kind of just quiets the battlefield to a degree. Where there's the haki of the Supreme King. And even Aokaji's like, "You've got to be kidding me with this."
Yeah, even Cobb's like, "Hey, did you just?" And even Whitebeard's is like, "That boy." So it's kind of very similar as we'll see next chapter. It's a bit similar to what happened on Amazon Lily, where like kind of the characters who know are just like, "Oh no."
Yeah, seriously. We do have an SBS because man, that's a hell of a way to stop it. But we do have an SBS basically asking about all the division leaders and who are all these guys. And we break it down. It turns out there's 16 divisions for the Whitebeard pirates. Lord.
And they all have names. we learned like two
He even says, if I don't put it in the chapters themselves, it's not that important. SBS stuff is strictly an extra. So, you don't need to know all these names.
Yes.
But we do. I can tell from the design, it was Division 12 leader Haruda that did the lance attack into the Pacifista.
Oh yeah.
Looking cool, but there's some fun designs.
Absolutely.
But let's say we get to the final chapter for this set.
One more.
Chapter 570, The Bridge of Life. Just to start out with this aerial view of Navy headquarters, and everybody's like, "Get your hold of yourself. I almost passed out." And a lot of people are passed out. It's like, he has the haki of the Supreme King. He's just like Pops and Shanks. So,
oh boy.
Whitebeard has the Supreme King as well. Shanks has it as well. I think it's pretty obvious at this point, Ace does not have it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, they're all, it's so interesting seeing the reactions here.
Yeah, I love Mihawk doesn't say a word.
He just has those darkened eyes. It's like something about this. It's like I think he obviously recognizes it from Shanks. Not even Garp knew he had this.
Yeah, and then this line from one of the vice admirals too is really interesting, where he's like, "He's the son of Dragon the Revolutionary. Little wonder he possesses this innate power."
Oh boy, that boy must not survive this battle. If he does, he will become a grave threat to us in the future. So,
which I mean, there's still so much we don't really know about Supreme King haki, but I feel like the ability to make anybody pass out at will probably would be a grave threat.
Yeah, you can see why that would be a little dangerous. And I love this moment where even Cobbs is like, "Wow, that's some power. Where'd you learn that?" And Luffy's like, "What power?"
Yeah, it's like, all right, never mind. Yeah, so, and this is also fascinating. This, I feel like we'll learn a little more about this later, but the way that even Kov says, like, it's a hidden power for now, but it explains why people are so drawn to him. The apple doesn't far fall from the tree, dragon.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know how I feel about Luffy's natural charisma being explained away as this Supreme King haki. I hope it's not just that.
I would flip it, I think, is maybe a better way to think about it.
Oh. So that's far more interesting.
Yeah. I think you're on the right track.
So much charisma that you have this power.
I think so. I think without saying too much, that is probably a better way to think about it.
Wow. And Ace has all this love, and yet he does not have it. That's,
Yeah. No, it's interesting that this, God, I love that. I mean, this is now the third time we've seen, right? The third time? Because we had
it against
the Duval thing.
Duval,
and, yeah. So we're learning.
Actually,
we don't really know
fourth time, I think. Oh no, did Luffy use that power during the rescue in Sabaody, or is it not? He didn't use it again until the Wolves.
I guess did he use it
3 or 4 times at this point? Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, and what I love about it is that it has this build up where we see it, and some characters are just kind of like, they don't really like, because I think with Duval, like, Robin was like, "What was that?" He's like, and now we're seeing, like, for the characters who do know, we're kind of learning more and more piece by piece about what this is. But yeah, it's the formal explanation is not that far off. I can say that at least, but
okay.
It is. I don't know what to say other than that. It's fascinating, and it's just another one of those things that Luffy can do it, but he doesn't quite know it yet.
Mm-hmm. And this seems to strike something in Whitebeard, who he gets standing at this point and just calls out, "Men, back up Luffy with everything you've got."
Yes, and that's it, because if Whitebeard also has this power, and what he sees in Luffy, where he's like, okay, this is this boy is a bigger deal.
For sure. And I love this line. It's like, give it your best shot. If you're one of the successors to the Will of D, show me what kind of era you will create. And it's like,
and so Whitebeard knows what it is too.
Yeah. Because he's not a Will of D. He's just Edward Newgate. He's not Edward D. Newgate.
Yeah. Edward D.
Oh, God. But, with that backup, it's amazing to get this next page and see Luffy is just this tiny, almost a tiny speck, as he's surrounded by all these top-level pirates just unleashing on the Navy to help him get through.
Yeah, and I feel like this is exactly what Ivankov was talking about, where it's like, whatever this kind of hockey of the Supreme King thing is, or whatever, it's just again the raw charisma that gets people to help you. And
I can appreciate this way more now than I did initially, because to me initially when I was reading this, is like, man, Luffy's been useless this entire time. He's just been getting beat from character to character, not getting a victory, just getting roughed up this entire time during this war. It was kind of frustrating to me. It's like, man, it shows the gap, but it's like, give the poor boy a win at some point. But I realize this is not about him getting physical victories. This, as Ivankov points out, the world's greatest pirate is testing you. This is a test for Luffy more than anything else.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like, God, what was that? I'm thinking back to that speech. I think, was it against Arlong, where Luffy was basically just like, I can't do this or I can't do that, but that's why I have my crew. And we saw this, once he landed on Amazon Lily, where it was just like, there's so many things that I can't do now that I don't have my crew with me. And so I feel like on some level, Luffy is kind of aware of what his own limitations are and what it means to have other people to help him. And I feel like we've seen all throughout this arc too, when he does get help from other people, he feels like he owes them, and he's just like, oh, I'll have to thank that person later.
Right.
I think that stuff is really crucial.
Yeah, it marks him as a very different character than, again, let's compare him to Goku, where one of the lines that stick out to me the most is from the Battle of Gods movie, where Goku expresses frustration that he needed to rely on other people in order to access the Super Saiyan God. Right,
where it is very much and that's something I feel like Akira Toriyama was very open about, was sort of like Goku is a selfish character, but that it's God, and we could go into a whole that's a whole nother rabbit hole when you think about sort of martial arts philosophy and focus on the self and how Ultra Instinct, which in Japanese has the sort of the vibe or the implication of the phrase Migate no Gokui is very inward looking and very very sort of the self and selfish. It is sort of different to Luffy, who is selfish in a very different way, but it is also still very much about looking out for other people and being helpful, but in a way that is still kind of aligned with your own goals.
Right.
And so I feel like when we talk about Luffy as a character, even though he's very simple, there is a very fine line that has to be tread in terms of he is simple, and he is very goal oriented and doing things for himself, but he sort of recognizes that in other people too, right? Where if somebody does something for him, he's ride or die.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I feel like that's just how he views relationships.
Yeah, and that's why he's able to draw people in, I think, because it is 100% sincere, as we see breaking up Buggy and Mr. 3 the entire time. It's like, oh God, I feel bad betraying this guy because he's so dang forthright.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's so simple but so brilliant, and I think, and more than both of those things, it's consistent.
Yeah, this is the same Luffy we've had since the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, just getting amplified as time goes on. But and to a massive degree too, because Luffy's about to get struck by Hawkeye, and he's actually saved by Mr. One.
Right, which imagine that. Imagine thinking back to Alabasta and thinking that this happened.
Yeah, and he's just like, "Hey, President's orders. The Navy is my enemy for the time being." And yeah, unsurprisingly, if Zoro is able to take out Mr. One, Hawkeye has
Mihawk,
no issue.
Yeah, but then here comes Crocodile versus Mihawk.
Poor Mr. One's bleeding out, and he's just like, "I'm not in a good mood right now. You better watch out, Hawkeye."
Whoa, man.
And then we see Hancock fighting. Oh god, I forgot the sumo guy's name.
Sentomaru.
And he's just admonishing us like, "You knocked out all the pacifistas at a commission. Aren't you supposed to be on the government side?" It's like, nah, love is always a hurricane.
Yeah, I love the little sweat. The little sweat drops from the bubbles. Where Sentomaru's like, "What are you talking about?"
And then we get an amazing reveal where it turns out that Inazuma has been hiding out in Ivankov's hair this entire time.
And he just is, like, "I need your help, no problem." But
and he comes out with a wine.
If you were wondering, yeah, that's great. It's God, underrated character, Inazuma.
Oh, totally. And we got Whitebeard and Jinbei fighting back to back, and even calls out, "Execution platform is close. Just run on ahead." And here comes Inazuma cutting up the road and making a straight ramp up to Ace.
We're so close.
He is so close.
Right there. Yep.
Luffy starts running up the platform, calling out, "I'm here, Ace." And they're shooting cannons at him, and it's blocked by the sword guy from
Vista. Yeah,
Vista. Yeah, keeps on Vista. It's like, "Keep going." And Kizaru comes in. It's like, "Nah, I won't let you." And here comes Whitebeard slashing at him to prevent him from interrupting Ace. And it's like, go, Straw Hat, free Ace, go Ace's brother. And
you can feel the momentum.
Yeah, you just have this momentum, like he's gonna do it, he's gonna make it, he's gonna get there. And then all of a sudden, there's a giant crash that breaks up the ramp. And here's Garp in front of Luffy. And he's like, "Out of my way, Grandpa." I was like, "Nah, I'm a vice admiral. I'm not going anywhere." And that's where we friggin' end.
This feels like the final challenge.
Yeah.
No, that's the end of the chapter. That's the end of the set. I'm so sorry, everybody.
That is... Like, you can even feel it in our voices. It's ramping up. It's getting big. And
yep, this is it. Yeah.
Just a halt. Yeah. Just a sudden start to give you, not whiplash, but it's like, oh no, give me the next chapter.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
I am so excited for what comes next, because I don't know. I forget how it all happens. I think I know one other major thing other than the wrap-up stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't know when it happens. I have a feeling it's coming soon, but I don't know.
We don't have that much left of this arc. As you can imagine, again, Ace is right there. He's right. Ugh.
One thing that's been consistent with One Piece is that basically every major arc is wrapped up within 100 chapters.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, it sort of falls in line with that for the most part. And we are only 30 chapters away from 600, which feels weird.
That does feel really weird. Yeah.
It feels like we've been flying through these.
It does. God, and I think it helps too, because again, ever since pretty much after Thriller Bark, it has been a bunch of mini arcs.
Yeah. It definitely keeps the pace up.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm so mad. It just stop right there.
Oh gosh. And as for the SBS, we find out it's not just Dr. Frankenfurter that inspired Ivankov.
Oh, yes.
It turns out there's actually another person that I based Ivankov on. Despite him having already brought out Bon Clay, that person made me want to create a real cross-dressing character. That person was the same theater troupe as the voice actress for Luffy, Mayumi Tanaka. So when I saw his theater performance, I was stunned. His name is Norio Imamura. And because his face looked like a rock, I mistakenly remembered him as Iwamura because it means rock.
Yeah.
Which I then shortened to Iwa-san. On top of that, after Imamura found out that Eva was based on him, he rushed to the anime auditions for the character and was cast. So in short, a real crossdresser, Norio Imamura, was actually the model for Eva and actually even got cast to play him in the anime series.
That's incredible.
That's a fun story.
What a journey that.
And you can see the frizzy hair. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. I can see it. That's fun. That's a good detail.
That's great.
But yeah, with that, I believe we've said all we've wanted to say about chapters 566 to 570 of One Piece. Like,
yeah.
That's all you can say. Like, I don't think there's much to wrap up because we covered it so thoroughly.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for listening. And you can find more of my ramblings and stream VODs over at BitNerd Games on YouTube or BitNerd with an underscore at the end on Twitter. And Brandon, where can everyone find you at?
I'm at Brandon Bovia on Twitter, talking about anime, manga, games, and my job. And yeah, that's it. This is some good stuff, man.
Oh, yeah. And if you'd like to help us out more, you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/Derek Bittner to listen to the next episode ad-free 3 days early. And make sure to return next time as we don't move on to the manga.
Oh.
It's time for the movies. We've been talking about it a bunch in the lead up, and man, that timing is rough, but it's time we get to watch the first of the Oda-led movies, Strong World. So until
no more
then,
bad One Piece movies.
Yep, no more bad ones. Well, maybe one more.
Yeah.
So until then, my friends, bye.
Remember to take life one piece at a time.